For me, always been a get better mentality every day, grow every day, be a better leader every day, be a better quarterback every day. And when that rent's due, I don't plan on missing no payments. So it's work.
And welcome to another edition of AATBIRDS Weekly Report. We're going to kind of get back to football a little bit. I just want to throw all the guys here joining us. We got Phil Stifle, we got Jeff Warner, and Chip Keggy. We are ready to talk all things Eagles, but before we do that, I'm going to throw some, pay the bills. We got Manscaped. Father's Day is coming up, so make sure that, you get your father something nice. We do have a fun new commercial coming up, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yep, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. You got to make it to the end of the show. You got to watch the new commercial. It is Jeff's wife approved.
Codes AATBIRDS for 20% off and free shipping. Make sure you also check out OddsJam. It's the arbitrage betting. You're guaranteed not to lose any money, so that's always a plus. So make sure you sign up there. And also Statement Games, a nice free fun fantasy sports. Make sure you check that out. They got a lot of cool games going on. I know they have stuff for the NBA playoffs. They got stuff for baseball. They got all the sports. So definitely check that out for Statement Games as well. But also AATBirds.com/shop. Make sure you check out the shop. Make sure you get your Jalen Hurts shirts, get your AATB, get your playoff maxi, maybe some shake and bake as well. There's a lot of cool gear up there, so make sure you help. And fifth place for was it Fanu, right? Finau, Fairway to Heaven.
Finau, it's Finau.
But make sure you check that out as well. But let's get back to football. Going to talk a little football here. The disrespect hurts. That's what the name of the episode is. And there's a lot of talk here with Jalen Hurts. I know Chris Sims put out a good old top 40 quarterbacks, his top 40 quarterbacks. And you happen to see a ton of rookies on there, some backups. You don't see Jalen Hurts' name at all. Now, to me, I don't know what you guys say. I'll throw it to you, Jeff. What do you think of, and even PFF has done the same thing with Hurts. What do you think about that?
Well, give everyone a little bit of the breakdown of what's going on. Chris Sims, he does a every couple-day podcast. He's breaking down his quarterback rankings, and he's releasing about 3 or 4 names every episode. So far, he has through 17 through 40, and like Johnny said, Jalen Hurts is not currently on that list.
Unless he's in top 16.
He's not in top 16. So that's pretty much, it's assuming that Chris Sims feels that he is not considered a top 40 quarterback in the NFL, which I don't know. I haven't been listening, so I don't know if he's basing off of so many snaps from last season, or he feels the sample size. I haven't listened, but I kind of feel Chris Sims has been quite biased towards Jalen Hurts a little bit. Even before the draft on his podcast, he always said, and he kept on saying that the Eagles should make a play at one of the quarterbacks because he wasn't a fan of Jalen Hurts. So I'm not saying Hurts shouldn't be or should be out of the top 40 or should be in the top 40, but I feel that he's getting a little bit of injustice because of the lack of sample size and the position he was thrown into last year. When you look at, I feel it should be at least starting quarterback. So you should at least have top 32. The fact that there's backups in here is an insult to Jalen Hurts.
And he said the criteria is that it's not what they did, not their Hall of Fame careers. It's literally how they are right now. That's how he's going in, how they're skills.
This comment right here, we've talked about it on this show 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sims, CBS Sports, PFF, they're a bunch of yahoos. They're just clickbait material. They know by eliminating Jalen Hurts that they're going to get nonstop quote tweets and shares and comments and clicks on their stories from Eagles fans, from Alabama fans, from Oklahoma fans that feel he's being disrespected. Now, outside the top 40, obviously it's disrespectful for Jalen Hurts not to be on this list. But honestly, what has he done to be considered a top 20, 25 quarterback at this point?
Great point.
Really not much. He's played 4-ish games. He was 1-3 as a starter. And look, I'm all aboard. I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. But on the flip side of the equation, like last year when Doug Peterson wasn't in the top, I forget what it was, the top 20 coaches or something like that, or top 50. We had an episode all centered around a Chris Sims and a CBS article about the top coaches in the NFL. And we bashed it because Doug Peterson at least won a Super Bowl. What has Jalen Hurts done? Pretty much nothing.
But
let me. I'm going to go at this a different way. I want to rank Chris Sims for a second. So I did something that probably maybe 5 people in the history of the universe have done. I Googled Chris Sims' football stats from when he was a player. Are you telling me that a guy with a career 7-9 record, 12 career interceptions, 12 career touchdowns and 18 career interceptions is worthy of judging quarterbacks? I mean, look, I know we listen to Dan Orlovsky a lot, but Dan Orlovsky at least looks at things and breaks it down based on the play and based on the reads. Chris Sims making a list, cool. When Chris Sims played, he wasn't a top 40 quarterback. It's just the fact that there's so much stock being placed in this. And like Phil said, and he's exactly right, Jalen Hurts hasn't done anything yet to be considered a top 40 quarterback.
Well,
that's not to
40,
say that he won't.
Top 40, maybe he should be considered. But we're talking
top 40.
I think the
top
question
40,
is the disrespect. People think that he should be top 20 or top 25.
You don't have a sample size.
We don't have the sample size to do it. And top 40, if you're not going to put Jalen Hurts in the number 30 to 40 section, that is just clickbait-driven media. And Chris Sims is just trying to have more relevant of a career in media than he did playing football at this point.
Pretty much. Because here's the list. I'll say I'll go from the bottom up, and I'll say you guys can tell me once I'm done or wherever you want me to stop. If Jalen Hurts is better than most of these guys. Yeah, 40 he has Case Keenum.
Yeah, he's better than Case Keenum.
39, Justin Fields, who hasn't even stepped on the football field yet.
That's total disrespect to Jalen Hurts right there.
Trey Lance.
Gets better.
Disrespect.
Kellen Mond.
Who?
No.
Kellen Mond.
Who?
Exactly.
Nothing yet.
Marcus Mariota.
Come on. Do the deal. Hashtag do the deal.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor, Tua, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Jared Goff, Mac Jones from 30 to 40.
Where does he have Tua ranked on that list?
He is 2 at 34.
Okay, and so again, that right there, like Tua, I'm not a Tua guy. I don't like Tua.
I am not a Tua guy.
I know there's some poll questions and things to talk about later, but Tua at least has played a little bit more of a sample size, and to put him at 32, again, right there with Trey Lance. I mean, it just goes to show that the fact that we're talking about it is almost dumb. In my opinion,
it's what he wanted.
It's exactly what he wanted, and we are giving him the press and the extra clicks by talking about, because now people watching the show are going to go look at this list and want to see what happens, and it's just lazy, sloppy clickbait media. That's all
But
it is.
the one thing about, I understand Chris Sims. I really don't care how his playing career is, because there's plenty, like that comment there. Doug Peterson wasn't a great quarterback, a journeyman backup, good coach. I listen to NFL Sirius Radio. There's a guy on there named Ryan Leaf who had a horrible career, and he's a very good analyst. So,
Who the hell is this guy?
Hey, he's bought like 2 of our shirts. So,
Oh, thank you for the support, man. Appreciate it.
Exactly. But for me, it's just what that is, and he did it during the draft. And it was the same thing, kind of what Phil was saying, where he knows the Eagles and the Philly media, the big market. Well, he put Kellen Mond number 3. I think he put him ahead of Justin Fields or Trey Lance. It was one of those guys. All the draft guys are going to be like, what's this thing? And it's going to get conversation, going to get talk. And CBS Sports does it. Pete Prisco's another guy. I think we talked about him last year as well. He put one of his top 100 rankings or whatever he did. But it is a clickbait thing. Unfortunately, you get that. But it also brings up conversation, because it asks us, where do we think, a quarterback like that? Because PFF had him ranked 31st out of 32 starting quarterbacks. Now, that was just starting quarterbacks. So I understand Hurts' sample size. I get that. But when you look at rookies coming into the league, they don't have a sample size. They're going from college to the pros. So basically, you're looking at potential. And
well, that, and basically like what my point before is that Chris Sims going into the draft felt that all the quarterbacks, all the first-round talent quarterbacks, were better options than Jalen Hurts, that the Eagles still strongly consider drafting one of those. So I kind of feel this list is too biased to his agenda to basically say that the Eagles should have went with one of the rookies over Jalen.
Look, we do not know what Jalen Hurts has to offer yet. He has an exceptionally small sample size. Now, the fact that they got rid of a franchise quarterback in order to give Jalen Hurts a shot means they need to give him the shot. You know what I mean? There has been so much talk about trading for the quarterback from the Texans and trading up in the draft for this guy and trading for this guy and how could they let this guy go. You know what? For me, you have to give Jalen Hurts a chance. He is a second-round draft pick. He is now your starting quarterback. Yes, you brought in Joe Flacco, but you cannot honestly expect Joe Flacco to win the starting job. And there's now 2 quarterbacks on the roster because Johnny's favorite got the axe today. Jamie Newman is no longer a Philadelphia Eagles guy.
Oh, no. There's only one person in Philadelphia that didn't see that one coming.
So the point I'm trying to make is this. Look, we have all tried every time we have talked about the Eagles this entire offseason to taper our expectations, to say, look, this year is going to be a learning curve. If we have success, it's awesome. If we don't have success, that's an answer to a question. If Jalen Hurts struggles this year, that is an answer to a question. But right now, there is still a question around him.
But if he doesn't struggle, then there's possibly a question answered. So the thing is,
and that's my point, right?
You understand, you saw glimpses last year. You saw certain things he could do. The thing is, you don't know what this coaching staff can do. And that's the big, I understand people want them to trade for a quarterback. And, to me, you don't give up all the assets that you have, the draft picks that you have, to trade for someone. And who knows if they even fit what you're trying to do. I understand Aaron Rodgers. I understand Deshaun Watson, all these guys that are out there.
You don't know if those 2 guys are going to play this season. So you can the problem is that
the Rodgers one's a little different, but I understand.
Those trade picks right now are more valuable than either of those 2 quarterbacks. Right? Because they're supposed to be the results from your answers. If you find out that you are seriously still lacking on the offensive line, you can use one of those first-round picks next year as an offensive lineman. If you find out that you're seriously lacking in the corners, if you trade picks for Watson or Rodgers right now, you are wasting them because Watson might not play and Rodgers might retire. Those guys don't want to come here to a program that is rebuilding with a first-year head coach. That's not, you don't leave a Texans or a Packers organization to come to where a first-year head coach is with a team that throws through quarterbacks, that has a tough fan base to deal with at the tail. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But the thing with Jalen Hurts that I feel, I understand the confidence, the charisma, the hard work, the work ethic, you have all that. I understand all quarterbacks go and they throw out on the side. They do all that, the workout videos. We see it all in other sports. But the thing with him is I just feel the leadership aspect that he has, and many players have said it and have come up and said about how he can command a room and how he can, and that stuff isn't something that you can just learn. Sometimes you just have it, and you have that leadership without yelling or without doing certain things. To me, that means a lot, but of course you still have to be able to perform on the field. And that's something that we're going to see this year in this Nick Sirianni offense. But, one thing I want to bring up is, we talked about Newman being cut, Khalil Tate, and then they waived injured Trevon Grimes. But they signed one guy, but there's still 2 roster spots that are open right now. And, Zach Ertz is still on the team, so we'll leave that there. But there's 2 open spots. There's 2 open spots. What does this mean? I know we talked about corner. I know we've talked about, adding possibly the veteran free agent here there on the roster, but 2 open spots, meaning 2 more players are going to come on the team.
First off, there's 2 open roster spots with only 2 quarterbacks on the team. So there will be 2 more quarterbacks brought on. So if you want to think about it in the aspect of, I know you're going to want to bring up Steven Nelson and other guys out there, but they're going to come here at the expense of someone else that's on our roster right now. Those 2 spots, you don't go into camp with 2 quarterbacks. You go into camp with 4 quarterbacks. So those 2 open roster spots, hypothetically, are for 2 quarterbacks. And what does it say for Jamie Newman and Khalil Tate? Most guys make it to camp at least before they're cut. These guys couldn't even make it out of OTAs before they were getting cut.
My thing is, I think there's possibly an issue if you break team rules and stuff like that. There's if you're even a new coach and you do something that is frowned upon, not saying that's what happened, but if that is the case, you have a new coaching staff that wants to set the tone. That stuff's not going to be tolerated. So, we'll hear probably in the next coming days what it was. Trevon Grimes probably, they said, will revert to IR. He just had surgery, I guess a minor surgery, so he'll just revert. And this year they're doing the same thing, I think, kind of like last year with the IR. Basically, you put someone on for a couple weeks and then take them back, stuff like that. But you're right, Phil. They're going to need camp arms. They're going to need training because there's 3 preseason games. You're not going to have Jalen Hurts and Flacco playing all a half and a half in all of those games. They're going to have camp arms. You're going to have other bottom end of the roster guys that are let go. But it does make sense on what they're going to do with these 2 open spots. I feel 1 vet may be signed, but right now they're not doing OTAs. They're go to camp 6 weeks right now, 5 to 6 weeks. They have time to kind of regroup. So for me, I feel that you need to get a veteran free agent. Jeff, how do you feel? I know we have to get quarterbacks, but with these 2 spots, but how do you feel with these 2 open spots?
Look, we'll see what happens. It's so early right now. We're in the beginning.
Early.
I would say we're in the beginning of June. Look, I would say this roster ain't gonna be completely finalized heading into training camp. Like Hallie has indicated after the draft when they were addressing why they did not go after one of the corners at the top end of the draft and with their first couple picks, he made the comment once again that this team and this organization, they have a history of going out there and making a trade, getting a veteran, a guy that possibly was going to be on the trade block or potentially getting cut. So I just right now we're not in the financial situation I feel for a Steve Nelson. And is there a reason why we brought up in previous before? Is there a reason why he's available? And also, we still have Zach Ertz on the roster, so we don't know what his trade value and what things are going to happen there with him.
I want to talk about that for a second because at this point, think about all of the times that we have stopped to talk about when Zach Ertz was no longer going to be an Eagle, right? So he was no longer going to be an Eagle after the season. He was no longer going to be an Eagle before the draft. He was no longer going to be an Eagle during draft night. He was no longer going to be an Eagle right after the draft. He was no longer going to be an Eagle right after the June, the June 4th cuts. All these times he wasn't going to be an Eagle. Isn't there a chance at this point that Zach Ertz is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle this upcoming season?
Yep.
There's a chance, but I don't see. I see him either A, holding out of camp to force a trade, or they're just hoping. They're just hoping for a Sammy Sleeves, a Sam Bradford type situation where another team has him. Right. But a team may want him when their top tight end goes down in the first week of camp. And now,
at that point, learning
that is what you're waiting on, is the hope that a desperate team makes a desperate move.
Right, but at that point, learning an entire new system at the tail end of camp, aren't you better off taking one of the guys that you've had in camp, at least learning the system? Zach Ertz, what miles does he have left on him?
It's totally different for a tight end versus a court. I can see your philosophy if it was a quarterback. Right. But a tight end, routes are the same, terminology is a little different, but a tight end isn't even like a wide receiver. It's so much more simplistic for tight ends. No, it's not that big of a deal. And Zach Ertz, he struggled last year, but Zach Ertz is still a top-tier tight end in this NFL. And he's still, it was more of a disgruntled and an overall culture thing last year. So I'm not really worried about that aspect of it.
I feel that looking at Zach Ertz specifically, knowing that his buddy Jason Kelce stuck around, right? Knowing that he's coming off of a down year, knowing that he is not going to get paid the way he wants unless he makes it. It is best for all parties involved for Zach Ertz to be a Philadelphia Eagle this year. It just is. Because no team wants him at the right price that the Philadelphia Eagles expect for him. So why not drive your price back up by playing for the Eagles?
Well, or why not do what Mr. George, who always checks in, says and just cut him?
They're not cutting him.
They're not. The Eagles will not take that hit.
Yeah, they are playing hardball until they get the compensation that they want. They will not. They will not release him, and they will only trade him for what they want. They're playing hardball. And if Zach Ertz, for Zach Ertz, I get your point, Phil. I don't see him holding out. You have to realize this is the final year of his contract. Now he wants to still get paid. For him to hold out, I'll say it's going to hurt his his market on free agency the following year, because we know after this year he is done as a Philadelphia Eagles, regardless if they trade him now or he finishes out his contract and they don't re-sign him this offseason.
I want to address Johnny Higgins' comment here, and I see we don't know. From what I've heard, that the 12 personnel is going to be used a lot less with this new coaching staff, just because we ran a lot of 2 tight end sets last year and the last few years under Doug Peterson. It does not mean that Nick Sirianni's offense is going to be exactly the same. Nick Sirianni's a wide receiver guy. He's gonna have the focus on his 6 really average wide receivers that we have on our team.
Well, I think he's trying to hint out or assume, because the Colts apparently ran some decent 12 personnel when he was in Indy,
but not at the level that we did here before.
No. Right?
You don't need 2 All-Pro tight ends in the Nick Sirianni's offense.
That, and Sirianni has hinted plenty of times in his press conferences, he does not want to be predictable. He is going to game plan every single week differently based off his opponents and based off the mismatches. He does not want to give teams a lot of game tape on getting too predictable. Something that the Philadelphia Eagles and Doug Peterson, while he was here, even though he won us a Super Bowl, his offense over the last couple seasons was very vanilla and very predictable.
Yeah, you're right. And the other thing with the whole Ertz thing is, I think it was earlier last week, they talked about Dallas Goedert possibly start talking about an extension.
Yeah, so I saw that.
That's another point to think about too, is you release Zach Ertz, there's going to be a lineup of teams that are going to be calling. He is worth. There are teams that want him. There are teams that want his skill set. Because you even look at a team like the Tennessee Titans, who just traded for Julio Jones. Their tight end, I think, is Anthony Ferkser. So there's teams, the Colts, the Bills, the Chargers. There's teams out there that are going to line up for his services. So
right. But see, the thing is, like, what did everybody think that Julio Jones was going to fetch in a trade? The Titans only gave up a 2nd-round pick for him. Yep. So if Julio Jones is only worth a 2nd-round pick, Zach Ertz has got nothing. What's the team?
You're lucky to get the boarding pass paid for.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, I mean, there's no point in Howie Roseman holding out unless it's, in my mind, him trying to hold out till an emergency happens. So, and a team gets desperate. But till then, just trade him and get what you can for him. Just get it done with.
Question from one of our YouTube followers. Thanks, Cage My IQ, for following and chiming in. He asked us, would you consider bringing Drake Kirkpatrick, Artie Burns, or Garon Conley? I know we continue to talk about Steven Nelson, but would you guys consider one of those options as a starting cornerback?
I think we've all addressed Connolly a few times, correct?
I would only say Conley. I would only say Conley.
Drake Kirkpatrick is more a name, not necessarily someone that's been producing recently in the NFL.
He's the Alabama name. That's the only reason I want to remember.
Right. Yeah.
He played for Arizona last year.
Yeah, he's okay.
Artie Burns has been a disappointment where he's been the last two stops.
Richard Sherman's still out there, right? Richard Sherman hasn't signed. You know, there are names out there. But yeah, you got to do something still with the secondary, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the one. Look, we know that the offensive line is shaping up to be solid if everybody stays healthy. We know that the running back room is jam-packed at this point. Yep. The wide receivers, you know, we're going to see. I think corner is a position that still needs to be actually addressed with a free agent. It can't just be, well, which guys look good in camp. You need somebody on the other side of Slay. You have to.
Well, the defensive backs coach, they did talk about how it's an open competition. They're going to see what they have at number 2 slot. What does that mean? I don't know. I still think a veteran needs to be signed because what you have, unfortunately, you don't know. There's a lot of question marks. So, you know, and speaking with the coaches talking, I know, Chip, you're eager to talk about
I'm so excited. I was hoping you would segue into it because I'm ready to go with it.
So I know you have the video of, I guess, Jeff McClain was the one who asked the question to Jeff Stoutland. You want to promo kind of, you know, give a bit of what's going on. Go ahead.
So they, for the past week and a half, have been doing like coaches interviews and each of the position coaches. So you've listened to each of these coaches and talking about, and some of them have been very impressive. And some of them have their shirts on inside out and backwards. I mean, it's the Philadelphia Eagles in June. What do you expect? But Jeff Stoutland, my God, do I love this man. So Jeff Stoutland gets asked an absolutely bullshit question by Jeff McClain. And Jeff Stoutland responded as an offensive lineman would. And I'm going to share it. And I'm going to share it with the people because the people deserve to hear it.
Before you play it, can I just counter that for 1 second, Chip?
Sure.
It was not a total bullshit question. It was Jeff McClain has a reputation. And Jeff McClain asked the question at the wrong time. It's not a relevant question anymore. That question should have been asked 3 months ago or 4 months ago, not now with the new coaching staff here. You're working for somebody new. So it wasn't a bullshit question. It was just bullshit timing on Jeff McClain and more clickbait for Jeff McClain.
But it was bullshit in the fact of you asked the offensive line coach. That's who you asked. You didn't ask the quarterback's coach. You didn't ask the head coach. You didn't ask the offensive. You asked the offensive line coach about the quarterback drama from last year.
Yeah, so it's just timing. It's just a timing issue.
All right, well, I'm sharing it. I want the people to hear it because the people deserve to hear this.
It's a great clip. It's a great clip.
It's a great clip. All right, here I go. I'm going to play.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Zach Berman.
Jeff, as the only coach to precede the previous coaching staff and then survive its firing, you have the unique perspective of being inside and knowing and watching what happened, what occurred. So from your perspective, what went wrong that ultimately resulted in Doug Peterson being fired and Carson Wentz ultimately being traded?
I love Jeff McClain. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. What am I? I don't know what happened and why Carson. I have no idea. That's not my lane, Jeff. I don't know. What's your next story going to be, Jeff? After this one, what's the next one? How do you know? You don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Honestly, I know this. I know what I have to do to help Jordan Mailata and Andre Dillard look just like the other guys they're playing next to. I know that. I know how to teach a 6-man protection as good as anybody. Okay, I know how. That's what I know. The rest of that stuff, I'm not going into that. I don't know that stuff. Maybe when I'm done and I'm retired, we'll come work. I'll do a podcast. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't.
I just.
You can come on our podcast.
Anytime you want, you can come on to our podcast.
That's a great clip.
It's a great clip. And so I will tell you, in our little chatting before we went live, I said to Jeff, and he's like, I haven't seen it yet. So we were watching Jeff in real time watch the clip live and appreciate the excellence that is Jeff Stoutland. So, Jeff, what is your initial reaction?
I'm glad he's back. I was like, he brings some comical relief. I'll say, I bet he appreciates the setting that they're in, because typically they usually do the position coaches all on one day during training camp. They'll usually sit underneath the tent, and just reporters would line up to talk to each one of them individually for like 20 or 30 minutes. So if that was happening, we probably wouldn't even hear this. We probably wouldn't even hear this quote or anything like that. So I think, not thankful for COVID, but thankful that because of the situation, we're able to hear this type of conversation. Because Stoutland, he's a great position coach, and he's even a better interviewer.
Again, like I said, it's just the timing. Because actually, Jeff, the way he phrases the question, as the only coach that's a handover, he's the only one that would have the intimate knowledge of what happened with the last regime. But not in mid-June when your coach was fired in January or February, whatever it was. That was when that question should be asked, not now.
But I get it. The reason is because the position coaches, they are not readily available through the organization throughout the offseason when that decision was made. Very rarely do you ever get to talk to position coaches unless it's right before the start of the season during training camp or these OTAs. You do not get to talk to them most usually throughout the season or most of the offseason. The only ones you usually get to talk to are the head coach and the coordinators typically.
Yep. And you know what? I give props to Jeff McLean to an extent. Again, bad timing, and all that kind of stuff. And great answer from Stoutland. But we always want the media to ask the real tough questions. And it was just like when Rob Maddie asked the question. What was his question when he followed up with Howie Roseman a couple interviews ago? And he was really drilling Howie Roseman and tried to keep following it up and all. This is what we want out of our media. We want them to. We don't want them to ask cookie cutter questions. If we were watching these interviews and they were all softball, like high arcing softball pitches, we'd say they're laying up there. So at least it's a real question. We just know we're not going to get an answer.
Yeah.
At some point, and I've covered this on my show on Monday nights, and we've covered it on this show, and we've said it over and over again. The idea of lazy reporting, guys. I have some news flash for you, and I'm not sure if anybody is aware of this. Carson Wentz is no longer a Philadelphia Eagle. We can stop talking about him.
Hey, I didn't say his name. You did.
I know.
I haven't said his name on this. I haven't said his name on this show since January.
But the fact that people still do it blows my mind. Let it go. You sound like a broken-hearted high schooler.
As Jeff said, this is the only opportunity to interview a positional coach that, you won't get to talk to the rest of the year. So you got to ask the question. It's just bad timing. It's in poor taste to an extent. It gave us a great soundbite and all. But again, I don't think it's as big of a deal as everybody else is making it out to be.
I just like his
but you can ask Jeff Stoutland so many other things. Right.
I like his.
You can ask Jeff Stoutland so many things.
He's the only coach that was here, like Jeff said, for the previous regime. The only time you're going to get to ask him a question like this. So what do you want him to, I'm sure I didn't watch.
I want him to ask.
Care less about an offensive line coach interview.
Either.
I'm not going to watch an offensive line guy talk. Now I might actually after seeing that clip because maybe there's some other jokes in there. But do you really want to hear him ask questions about how Jordan Mailata's technique is on the pass? Like, look, it's going to be nobody cares. We're going to see that when we get to camp.
But I do want to ask questions. Hey, how are the recoveries coming? Hey, are there any standout rookie offensive linemen? Hey, why is Landon Dickerson the one offensive lineman that's not signed? How's he doing in the OTAs? Is he missing a step? What's the new coaching regime's offensive philosophy? What's the new training staff's offensive philosophy?
I'm pretty sure all four of us did not watch it. Maybe some of those questions were asked.
I did not watch it. It was 20 minutes of my life I didn't have. But I've watched that same clip now 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. So watch the clip one less time and watch the rest of the interview. I mean, I'm not because I don't really care about an offensive line coach's philosophy. I'm the one that said last year, because of Jordan Mailata's lack of development going into last year, that maybe it was time for Jeff Stoutland to step down. Obviously, I was wrong there, as I don't mind admitting. I never mind admitting when I'm wrong. Jordan Mailata was not a wash like I thought. Now, he may have failed with Andre Dillard, but we'll see coming into this year.
But we don't know. Once again, another situation where we don't have enough information. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you that I think we should trade Andre Dillard before camp and anybody gets their eyes on where he is developmentally and just trade him for the fact that he's a first-round pick, a former first-round pick.
And what are you going to get for Andre Dillard? Like,
I don't know.
I agree with you. You got to trade Andre Dillard or Jordan Mailata at some point.
But I want to trade Andre Dillard.
What are you going to get for Andre Dillard?
I don't know. But you can trade him before camp by saying, hey, he's a former first-round draft pick.
Right, and you're going to get a fourth or fifth-round pick, and Howie Roseman is not going to cut ties for that big of a loss. He's just not going to do it.
But what happens if they both go into camp? Mailata, of course, looks like he's up last year. He's improved. He's improving, looking well. Dillard is okay. He's not right up to Mailata. But what happens if there's an injury on a team that then needs a left tackle? Then you have what Phil said before. You have the whole.
There's my 5.
Sam Bradford thing. I understand that, but you have to know if a team gets hurt and you get, instead of a 5th, 6th round pick for Dillard, all of a sudden the team gets hurt and you get possibly a conditional 4th or something better, or they don't trade him at all and they just keep the depth behind him. There's plenty of things to do, but I would not trade him before camp because right there's absolutely no value there. You're not going to get anything. You want to go into camp, and if there's an injury or something happens, like Ertz, if there's an injury to a starting tight end somewhere, you could get possibly, a lot better than what you would get right now.
I am just worried because we haven't seen Andre Dillard have any success in his NFL career. I am worried the more tape that gets to be put on this guy, the further down his value plummets. At least right now, hey, he's healthy.
Brown.
Yeah, he has no value at this point.
Why say that name, sir?
Because I know
you said the other name.
Why, sir? I'll never forget. I'll as long as I do podcasting for the Philadelphia Eagles, I will never forget Jamone Brown fixing his glove mid-play while his quarterback got the shit kicked out of him. And then on another play, him physically tackling his own quarterback. What the worst short-term signing in Philadelphia Eagles history.
So with that, it's a great, comment by Ryan here. It's a bad question for one reason. Everybody,
it's exactly what it is. It was a clickbait.
100%.
It was a content click. How many people are talking about it today? How many people are talking about it on their podcast? How many times did Chip watch the video already? It is what it is. That's what media people do. I mean, we're not necessarily clickbait people to an extent, but on the other side of the equation, we do things to get people to tune into our show. That's what we do. We do things. We make titles up to get clicks. That's what media does. That's what podcasters do. That's what it's all about. Yeah, it's a bad question because of timing. But you know what? It's a question that's gotten Jeff McClain how many more eyes on him, his articles, and his product right now.
Right. At least we keep it relevant, though. And I want to actually –
I want to have a conversation. Name, so that was totally not relevant.
What's that? I know.
You brought up the name, so.
I know. Can we talk about this conversation, this comment here by Freddie? Because I don't agree. I don't agree that firing.
Why are we talking about that though? Hey, I appreciate you tuning in, Freddie. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care to talk about Doug Peterson anymore. Just like I'm not talking about the other name. I'm not talking about people in the past. That was last year.
You can't do it one way and not do it other. You're right. Yeah. You're right. So then,
what's relevant? There's nothing relevant. Then
so this is relevant.
Hands are washed. Show's over. That's
we'll switch gears then. We will not be facing Julio Jones in Week 1.
Thank God.
Which I did say that was going to happen.
Lord.
And all it took was a second-round pick. So, again, I know you guys want to talk about rebuilding and building from the foundation up, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? If you could have traded a second-round pick for Julio Jones and then found a way to bring in Steven Nelson, all of a sudden you're the front runner for this division, and all of a sudden you're not a rebuilder anymore, and you move forward with it. So I think it's a big miss on the Eagles' part. And the Titans, their offense is stacked now.
Oh my God,
phenomenal.
You trade a second-round pick, but then also the Titans did take on all $15.3 million. As I
Find a way to
think
get
they
it
did.
done. Cut Zach Ertz.
Because they're in a win-now mentality.
Absolutely.
Well, that and they were a piece away. They were a playoff team last year, so they know that they got to that level. Now they need to get to the next level, and they feel Julio Jones is going to do that for that offense.
But also think of it this way. Julio Jones is now with the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans they're in the same division as the Indianapolis Colts. So possibly it helps the Eagles out in a way of, one, he's not with the Falcons week 1, and 2, possibly helps give the Colts, maybe 2 losses. Maybe it helps them in that aspect of maybe getting a first round pick as long as somebody plays, but also it being a better
somebody.
Pick. I didn't want to say it, but like I said, there is.
Well, we don't want the Titans, or we don't want the Colts to lose. We want them in the playoffs, because I'll say the Eagles get a first round pick if they make the playoffs. So how does Julio?
They get a first round pick. They get a first round pick if he plays 75% of the snaps.
Yeah, or make the playoffs,
or make the playoffs. Okay. It's an either.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
But no, there's still a snap count if they
70%. I think.
Okay, so he still has to play a snap count. If they're losing, they're gonna just bench the guy the last couple of weeks of the season just to not give up that first round pick. So you want them competing, you want them winning, you want them chasing a division crown this year, 110%, because it helps. Yeah, I'd rather a 25th round pick in the first round versus the 38th pick in the second round. It's just clear as day what's better for the team.
If they're on the border of almost making the playoffs here and they're right on the cusp, he's still going to play. He's not going to be benched. But I'm just saying it helps them. Maybe it gives them an extra loss or two here. Like I say, it's good for both sides, because now you don't have Julio week 1 because he torched.
Julio was never a realistic option for this team. It really wasn't.
No,
I know that, but on the flip side of the equation, like I said, it really shouldn't have been so unrealistic of an option. That's all I'm trying to say. It should have been talked about in the Eagles' office probably a little more than it was.
If people are
if that was the only asking price, yeah.
Well, if people are saying, well, I really didn't want him anyway, they're lying. Because if Julio Jones, if he's available, no matter where your team is, you want a player like that.
Someone wanted them.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Freddie did not want him.
Look, and the other side of the equation is, wasn't there an issue last year in the draft? The Eagles tried to jump up to get CeeDee Lamb. They tried to make a trade with the Falcons, and the Falcons wouldn't do business. So maybe there's something behind the scenes between the Falcons and the Eagles. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws right now to stretch this show out a little longer.
But speaking of, I want to bring up the poll question of a couple weeks ago, because I see Jeff is wearing a jersey number 91, but I know it's not a Fletcher Cox jersey.
Nope.
He's getting up. Oh, okay.
Which poll question are we talking about here?
The jersey one. We skipped it last week because of the Sixers.
Well, no, there was another poll question that I had. I thought we were going to talk about, but
we can talk about that too. But
so we can talk about this poll question to the people that are watching still. Of course, my answer was dominated the poll. Is
they're morons.
Having your name on a jersey is a 110. No, Johnny, it's not Andy Harmon. It's a personalized name jersey. It is a total violation, total man card ripped away from you guys.
Wait, can I just wait? Hold on. I gotta stop you for a second. Hold on.
No.
Luke Williams just hit a walk-off home run in his first game starting as a Philly.
Shit.
Good for the
Hopefully
kid.
the future's bright. So
get the hell out. Sorry,
no, back to the poll question. No, you don't buy a jersey with your name on it. Okay. It's a total violation.
Let's
100%.
Let's put this poll into perspective, though. So Phil, he does weekly to try to drive content for our show, he posts up a poll question. So he asked his followers, is it a violation or not for us to have names of our own personalized jerseys?
Said yes.
71.9 to 28.1. But there was only 64 freaking votes.
Yeah. So what? That's still 64 votes. That means that there was 40-some.
Polls do not
Best
count unless they
comment
at
of the
least
night.
have 100 votes or more.
Oh, I didn't know
Because
there were
this
poll
was a
rules.
small sample size. Basically, what told
First
us
off,
all our
you look like
followers
an,
do
you
not
look
give
like
a
an
crap
idiot
about
with your
this.
shirt on backwards. A complete idiot.
If that's
I mean,
not
I think
the
this.
greatest move,
I think this is the best comment of the night.
Trump's backward pants looked not as bad as that shirt on you. You know, right
Right,
now.
Ryan,
Just so
I
you
have
know.
a child. I'm not a virgin.
neither am I. I got 2 kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a
But
total violation.
I don't want to say it's a freaking violation. Look at constantly all the players that continue to either leave your team or change number. Look at fucking LeBron. He changes his number to freaking 6 now to give it to what's his name on his
again.
team.
Complain about spending money on jerseys.
Yeah,
You've got more
it's a
championship
fortune.
belts
I
and
will
Power
never
Rangers things behind you that you can buy a new jersey when LeBron changes his number. Sell one of your shelves where the championship belts, and you'd be good.
Ask Johnny.
And obviously, your
Johnny.
wife doesn't even care if you use Manscaped because she's confirming some things right there.
Ask Johnny. During high school, I had about 200 jerseys. So I have jerseys, but I also have my own personalized one.
Yeah, you're just bitter that you got called out on it.
I think the only time it's okay to get a jersey with your name on it is if all of a sudden a player with you happen to be your last name starts playing for that team. So say if Kurt Warner played for the Eagles and you got a Warner jersey, then I'd say that okay, makes a little bit of sense.
It's coming too. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Now,
That's why I brought that up.
No, that's the only way it
So
counts.
I'm calling myself out. So the real violation, Phil, is the fact me as an Eagles fan bought my wife a personalized Cowboys jersey with her last name.
That's even more of a violation.
I'll take heat for that one, but I will give her the benefit of the doubt, though. She is from Texas. She is not one of those Pennsylvania Cowboys fans, so I let it slide. The fact that she grew up in the state that her team actually plays in.
It's fine. It's still a violation that she's got a jersey with her name on it.
I'm saying the fact that
This is not little league. This is not men's adult softball leagues where you have your own jersey. This is buying a jersey from your team. You just don't do it. Exactly. Get off the podcast. Freddie, we're hiring. You can jump in and take a spot. All right, let's get to a serious poll question. I didn't actually bring it up, but I thought that's the poll question you guys were going to talk about because we're talking about Jalen Hurts, and then we mentioned Tua Tagovailoa, blah, 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 whatever his name is. And Mac Jones. Yeah, I can't say it. Tua. 3 quarterbacks, all from Alabama, all played at Alabama at some point in their career. Tua, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones. Who's going to have the most success this year and whose ceiling going forward has the most, the biggest height? That was the poll question I thought you guys were going to bring up and talk about.
So I had to bring the other one up.
I didn't bring it up because I didn't even know we were talking about this tonight because I'm out of town. I'll try to find it.
I'll give my opinion on what I think. If you want to go around and say what our
well, you go.
then we'll see
Which quarterback is going to have the hot from Alabama will have the highest ceiling?
I've always been high on
over
Jalen
his
Hurts,
whole career,
and I'm going
this year
Jalen
and the whole career.
I've been high on Jalen Hurts. I think that he has the most potential out of all of them. I think Tua, the injury questions, the arm strength issues, I just have issues with Tua. Mac Jones, okay, he may be good. I just think he's going to be a average quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a top tier guy. And we've mentioned time and time again with first round, quarterbacks, not all of them succeed. How many were picked this year? How many were picked last year? You really don't get all of them succeeding. So for me, Jalen Hurts, I like the coach that's in place. I like Devontae Smith, who he's familiar with, Jalen Reagor there, Miles Sanders. I like the offense. Dallas Goedert, I like the personnel there. I'm going to go Hurts. Maybe a homer call, but I like what Hurts brings to the table.
Damn, the poll's a homer call.
115 votes. What a voting.
Well, at least it's a valid
voter turnout.
I know. I used to get poll questions with 250, 300 votes. I'm getting 115 and 70 and 60, and I'm getting called out because not enough people are voting. Vote, people. Let's go. But here, so you got 115 people. Obviously, total homer results. I did try to tag the Patriots and the Dolphins. Hashtags. Try to get some other perspective. But obviously, Tua, the fact that none will succeed has more votes than Jones and Tua. I mean, I think that says something about Tua and Jones.
So I do not feel like Tua is going to have a successful NFL career. I I think that he is very short-lived, like Johnny said, because of the injuries, because of the arm strength. I feel like he was a reach, when he was drafted. So just starting there, we can eliminate Tua. Mac Jones is going to have some success because he's a quarterback playing for Bill Belichick.
Yep.
Now,
sure about that though?
I understand. But again, Mac Jones is a quarterback playing for Bill Belichick. Do I think he was drafted entirely too high? Absolutely. Mac Jones was not a first-round draft talent. He happened to play alongside first-round draft talent. That's why he was drafted that high. What worries me about Jalen Hurts is his arm strength. He is not the most accurate thrower. He is not the most powerful thrower. He is a good mobile quarterback. Yeah, but Johnny, and I see the comment, right? Cam plays for him, but he wasn't drafted by him. He had all these other things leading into it.
But honestly, come on now, how many great quarterbacks have been developed by Bill Belichick? Really?
I mean, the greatest of all time.
That's it. So was it Bill Belichick's this great quarterback developer? Or is Bill Belichick got lucky getting the greatest football player of all time on his team?
And Matt Castle, I would say
Matt Castle's not a great quarterback.
Matt Castle's not a
great quarterback. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but he was a quality quarterback that got paid in this league as a quality starter.
Matt Castle was not a quality starter in this NFL. The best thing he did was win a few games, and he missed. He's the only season that they missed playoffs was when he started. The Patriots in that whole entire era.
That's like Garoppolo. The best thing Garoppolo did was win a couple games so that he could turn it into a huge contract over with San Francisco.
And they're drafting people to replace him over there. So I don't want to hear that Bill Belichick is definitely this quarterback genius. Because
honestly, also drafted,
but he's a guy that when he drafts a guy, they learn his system and he finds their strengths. When they leave, I completely agree. Besides Tom Brady, when they go somewhere else, they suck. But Belichick is that everyone feels that football-minded genius that knows to get the best out of his players no matter who they are. You look at along their entire offense. You look at Wes Welker, and when he was with Miami, he wasn't as good. He goes there, he's a freaking superstar. And you look at some of the other guys that he's got over the years. So I kind of feel Belichick is going to get the best out of Mac Jones just because of the experience and the fact that, look, Belichick is one of the greatest head coaches of all time. You can't count him out. So he finally gets a quarterback that he feels that will fit his system and fit his plan to his success. I feel Jalen's going to be the better long run if he pans out.
Hey, I just want to address Johnny. These points here that Johnny brings up, that's just semantics. That did not fit my narrative, so that's why I ignored that part of it. Just
Listen, out of the three of them, Jalen Hurts has the best chance to succeed. It's just entirely dependent on him.
Yep.
I feel like, a lot's got to go right in order for Jalen Hurts to succeed, and I want him to. So my vote was for Jalen Hurts out of those three. It's just there's a lot on him right now.
A lot of question marks.
I think because there's so many question marks, if anything, none of them being long-term successes in the NFL is probably the safest answer.
As of right now, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing to, bounce off Phil's point, the whole who they develop, they did draft Jared Stidham last year, who, did play last year after Cam either played bad or whatever and didn't look very good at all. So they had to draft another quarterback. I understand, the aspects of he can develop Tom Brady and, Matt Castle went to the Chiefs because the Chiefs thought and Garoppolo went to but also Andy Reid got a second-round pick for A.J. Feely to the Dolphins. Doesn't mean A.J. Feely was, it wasn't an all-pro quarterback. It's what you can get out of the guy. You get what you can get out of that player. If you can get draft picks for him, whether he was okay for you, you're to work to his strengths. Doesn't mean he's going to be great, but time will tell. Hopefully Hurts is the one that, shoots up the board and number one quarterback and the best out of those three guys. Time will tell though, but I want to throw it again to everyone that tuned in, everyone that chimed in tonight. First time viewers, we appreciate it. Make sure you check us out. Check all the shows out. Mondays, Chips and Dish. Make sure you check out Fairway to Heaven on Tuesdays. Is Fairway to Heaven? Is there a big tournament coming up this upcoming week?
Got the U.S. Open coming up next. Excuse me. U.S. Open next week. We've got a special guest still trying to confirm all the details before I promote him and everything. But yeah, we'll have our U.S. Open show on Tuesday night. So stay tuned for that.
Chip, you have anything planned for this upcoming, or just kind of see what happens in sports?
So I'm bringing on one of our writers, Jason Voorhees, to finally admit that he was wrong about Aaron Nola, which I called months ago because we set the trends over here. And I'm trying to get Scotty. We're trying to lock down some volleyball schedules. But Scotty Talks might be joining me as well.
Should call out Jason
awesome.
for his article he wrote before the year saying that the Phillies are going to win 100 games.
Oh, we shall be discussing.
And I think he had something in there about Vince Velasquez as well.
Oh, we shall be discussing.
Just make sure you pull up the entire article and just share it
we
on
have
the
a
screen
screen share feature. It will be brought up.
Yes,
We're going to go point by point.
Yes.
But also, Chip,
Sorry,
if you
Jason.
could bring
I love
up,
you, bro.
if you could also bring up the whole, because him and I had a little bit of discussion this past weekend. He talked about one player that had one great season, and he brought up Jason Worth, and there was a whole thing about a great season is 30 homers and 100 RBIs to start. So you could bring that up too, get his clarification on what a great season is. But
Luke Williams has won. Luke Williams has won, baby. Woo!
So he's on the way. He's on the way to a great season. But you always have the AATBIRDS weekly report on Wednesdays. We do have a new show that'll be coming. I won't get all the details yet on it because we're not 100%. We'll be announcing that as well. Once it's all finalized. But also Birds, Beers, and BS. Is that on is that this Friday you're recording?
Friday night we should be recording Freaking the Tool Peanuts coming back from Cape May. So he's currently drinking up Coronas all freaking week. So he should be in rare form for Friday night. YouTube exclusive. Subscribe, follow, like. Make sure to follow our platforms, including our YouTube channel.
You forgot to mention Party Doll Dave. He will be there too.
I don't even know where the fuck he is.
Freaking the Tool Peanut. There he is. That's great. But also check out AATBIRDS.com. All the articles that are being put up, all the writers are doing a great job. So make sure you check that out. Make sure to check out the shop, AATBIRDS.com/shop. We have a lot of great gear up there. New ideas keep flowing in. So we'll be getting more stuff up on that site as well. So just keep tuned. Keep your eye out for that. They are running a 15% off from, I think, the next week. It was started yesterday, I think, up until the 15th. So make sure you take the opportunity to get your gear, and you get a little bit off as well.
And Father's Day is right around the corner. So look, a lot of sports fans that watch our show, if you're your dad, your husband, whatever, if they're Philadelphia sports fans, support our podcast, get some money off.
Or if you're watching the show and you want the stuff for Father's Day, just make sure you drop a little hint. I know how to drop hints when I want something. So you just drop the hints and get what you get what you want. Little posty note, with the website. Do whatever you got to do.
And just make sure, I want to say also oddsjam.com. Make sure you take a look at that. You're guaranteed not to lose money. So make sure you check that out. Also Statement Games, the free fun fantasy sports. Make sure you check that as well. That's, awesome stuff on there. Awesome games to play. You can win free prizes too. So who doesn't like
all the links? All the links are in the bio of the show. How to sign up for Statement Games, Odds Jam, all those great things. Make sure you're using the links in the bio section. Yes. So that support the podcast. There's plenty of podcasts to support. Manscaped sponsors 200 different podcasts just in the Philadelphia area. But you know what? Support us. Use our promo code. It helps us keep this platform going. This platform that we give a lot of people a voice. So make sure you use our codes and our links if possible. We greatly appreciate that.
And with Father's Day coming up, we have a brand new Manscaped promotional video made by Chip Keggy. So make sure you enjoy it. He did a great job. So I want to give him props for that. Make sure that you AATBIRDS is the code, 20% off. Don't forget your fathers.
And with that, as we end every show,
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Father's Day is just around the corner, and y'all probably need a gift for your hairy dad. Make your dad proud this year and get him and yourself the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. Heard that right, the Lawnmower 4.0. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. Shoot, it was just last week when I asked my dad, "Hey Daddy, how's your balls doing?" He said, "Son, it's a hairy situation." I said, "Well boy, Manscaped just released a brand new product, the Lawnmower 4.0. Imagine surprising your dad with a sleek, well-designed and optimized body hair trimmer that says your balls will thank you on the box. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. Well, you might ask, how is the Lawnmower 4.0 different from other trimmers? Well, it includes a multi-function on-and-off switch that can engage a travel light. Great feature if your father or yourself to travel with. And it gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when you need a more precise shave. Shoot, now you can shave your balls in the dark. You can trim with additional guard lengths and has a wireless charging system. Yeah, you heard that right. Wireless charging ball trimmers are a real thing. The Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer is the best nose hair trimmer on the market and perfect gift for your pops if you've seen that nose bush sticking out your dad's nose. Not to mention amazing products like the Cologne, Crop Mop, Ball Wipes, Crop Reviver, Ball Toner, and Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. Get your dad a gift you know they will use. That's 20% off for free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBIRDS. Don't forget that you came from your daddy's balls. This year, show your original home some love with Manscaped.